Hey voters, Anthony Haslage, the internet politician here. Before I begin, do not forget to like and subscribe to keep up to date on new content. And we are again returning to my political positions document, which is on my website. And our next part is government intervention. I think the government should sit back, collect taxes, and wait until they're needed. I frankly don't enjoy unexpected visitors. I shouldn't be bothered by them, and if they need something, they know how to reach me. In the meantime, they should interact as little as possible with the citizenry. I think government in general has become too out there in your face. I don't know how else to explain it. It shouldn't be. It should be something, well, I'm going to vote for it twice a year, maybe a special election on occasion. I'll pick some candidates and some issues, and that's the last time I'm ever going to hear of them. But it isn't always that case, and it's weird that we've gotten to the point where politicians are seen like rock stars to some people. I've never been a fanboy for anything. Again, it's just weird, right? You tell me, do you think it's weird? Because I think it's weird. So, on a related note, we'll move on to government size. Reagan and Clinton, or Gordon, be more specific, had the right idea about keeping the government as small as possible. This was because the government seemed to operate more efficiently as a result. The government should reduce the redundancies, privatize where there is a market, have the states manage their own matters as they would better know their citizens' desires, and be transparent in most matters. The government should act efficiently. This means being cost-effective, produce quality work, and get it done in a timely manner. Being efficient does not always mean being the smallest government possible. While it seems counterintuitive, if adding 100 more employees is more efficient than not, then it should be done. The government should do what it needs to serve the citizens' best interests. 2 points, red tape sucks. And the second point, I guess, is whatever benefits the most people should be what the government does. I think I mentioned this in another video. Even a statistic, 95% is considered pretty good. I mean, if we can benefit 95% of the population for any action, that would be great. But also in another video, I mentioned that your local government really does a lot more for you than the county, federal, or state government does. So, I mean, really your focus should be at that level, because they can, like the higher governments pass the buck down. It doesn't instantly just end up on you, except in the case when a president signs a check for you, I guess. So now we run into a heated debate. So as I am talking about this, it's the pandemic is slowly ratcheting down, but West Virginia, the state to the southeast of me, is offering guns, rifles and shotguns, one or the other, your choice for a vaccine. I don't know if it's a lottery or you just get one. I wish I would have known this. I would have gone to West Virginia. But the topic is gun control. And as we can see globally in relation to gun laws, nothing works perfectly. Governments that either do or do not ban the sale of specific types of weapons have a mixed bag of results. In Western Europe, weapons are generally banned, and most of the police have clubs or tasers rather than guns. In addition, they do not suffer from much more terroristic activity than we do. However, we suffer from far more gun deaths overall. In the Middle East, gun violence is much worse. Most males in certain cultures are armed as soon as they reach puberty, or in some cases before. The argument about arming everyone making things safer for all need not apply. A lot of people die in the Middle East from gun violence than here in Western Europe. So in 1986, the United States passed a law to limit the production of automatic weapons to government entities. Automatic weapons produced from 1986 and before may still be legally sold or traded. The purpose of the law was to make it much more difficult to legally obtain automatic weapons going into the future. It also gives law enforcement and the military a weapons advantage over criminals and enemies of the state. The simple definition of an automatic weapon is one where if the trigger is depressed and held, it could dispense an entire clip of ammunition. So that basically means if you're holding down the trigger and you can basically just, with that action, spit out a whole clip of bullets, that's an automatic weapon. Although they are looking to adjust that a little bit for the bits that fake being automatic, where maybe it creates a motion that then still, while your finger trigger's pulled, still spits out bullets, despite the fact that it's not technically an automatic. And then we get into 3D printed things. That's a whole nother bag of chips. Now, we could argue the intent of the nation's founders when they wrote the Bill of Rights, but they could not predict the future. Does it really matter if guns are automatic or not when it comes to gun violence? Probably not. But I can only imagine that automatic weapons have a chance of increasing death rates purely by the speed of ammunition disbursement. Bump stocks, the thing I was talking about, where there's a big argument over that. 3D printed parts, ghost guns. You know, I'm going to throw out some keywords here. These are all real issues. Then again, automatic weapons are also typically less accurate over a distance. So I do not hear as many automatic gun violence cases as I do semi-automatic or manual. But I also say that realizing that we've had in the last 2 weeks alone, a whole lot of gun violence. Like, people have forgotten how to behave in society after a year and a half of being secluded. So now they're just going nuts in the streets. The United States has a habit of trying to find a happy medium, but we still see weapons of any type in the hands of criminals and people dying as a result. All in all, until proven otherwise to be worse than the other options, I will go along with whatever the current United States policy is. I think the previous president adjusted it, and the current president hasn't done anything with it. Keep in mind, it's the summer 2021. It may change. He still has 3.5 years left in office. Who knows? Now, the terrorism part is a real part of American lives. We should standardize gun sales nationally at some minimal level and leave it to the states to add further restrictions. Mainly because of interstate marketing for guns and traveling trade shows, stuff like that. If that means that people will have to wait a few days to receive their guns, then so be it. I understand that such actions may make it difficult for citizens to sell guns among themselves, but the old adage that a few rotten apples spoils a bunch applies here, and it really applies here. In the end, I think that someone who wishes to obtain a gun legally should complete criminal and psychological background checks, as well as safety training. But then you can argue that if I want voting to be open to all, and that's in the Constitution, and then thus being armed is also in the Constitution, how can I have two different viewpoints? Well, last I checked, voting can't kill me. Anyway, harsher punishments, I mean, even a bad president or a senator or whatever, doesn't really impact me as much as a bullet does. Anyway, harsher punishments should be applied to those that obtain guns illegally. I consider these safety training and additional layer of mitigation. There is a gun shop across the street from my house. They are willing. They'll sell you the gun and they'll sell you the bullets, and then they'll teach you how to use it. That is how gun shops should work. Harsher punishment should be applied to those who obtain guns illegally. I consider the safety training an additional layer of mitigation. It is a means of reducing the chance of future mishaps even further than just background checks. Also, mitigation saves a lot of money. Like so much money. I think the number was 7 times that than reacting to an issue. Like, learn to use your gun. Like, don't just buy a gun. Learn to use your gun. Like, don't go off and set up bottles on a fence and start blasting them in your backyard, because that's illegal in most places anyway. But definitely go to a shooting range, man. Well, that is all the time we have for today, voters. Remember, a good voter is an informed voter who can think for themselves. Do not forget to check out my previous videos on this channel, as well as like and subscribe to keep up to date on new content.